Hello and welcome to this final video on the live music business, and in this video you are going to look at pre-production and advancing. Hi and welcome to this final video on the live music business. We're going to wrap it up by looking at the pre-production and advancing process that takes place before the tour goes out. So pre-production is a process of organising all the people, the equipment, the suppliers, all into one schedule and distributing it to everyone. And as part of that process, we have what's called advancing. Advancing is when we collect all the information about all the venues and determine how it's all going to fit together. And we do this by contacting each promoter or venue on the tour and requesting various information, including car parking, load-in times, sound check curfews, all the stuff that's going to impact upon us when we're on the tour. I do this as part of tour managing, and I find that Excel becomes my best friend. So the screen shows my worksheet of advancing a run of festivals throughout summer. And as you can see from the screen, all I'm doing is just getting the information. I've asked promoters for this, that and the other, and they've come back to me, and the only way I can find to store it all together is in a big spreadsheet. And likewise, the promoters and organisers of each venue will want information from the touring act. So they'll contact the tour manager to get that information. And the screen shows the information request portals from a couple of European festivals. Another part of pre-production will be rehearsing. And the screen shows Kongos, a band from America, during pre-production rehearsals for their tour, and you can see the rest of this in their excellent documentary on YouTube called Bus Call. So at this point the band aren't necessarily rehearsing their songs, but what they are doing is like a theatre pre-production rehearsal where all the sound and light technicians and all the equipment that's going to be used on the tour is in one place, and they go through and sequence up the show, programming them at their desks and making sure they know each part of the set works well. Rehearsals are also incredibly important if you're using session musicians, dancers and other stage personnel. One major activity in modern touring is what's called the fly date. And we looked at festivals in summer where you may be based in New York, for instance, and you've got festivals in Europe. You'll be going out, you'll be flying to those, obviously. Fly dates present their own logistical demands, one of which will be the backline. The screen shows a more traditional backline, and most of what you see could be rented pretty much anywhere in the world. Drum shells, Marshall cabs, for instance. However, for a lot of touring bands, backline more often looks like this. Very specialised MIDI-based electronic music controllers, which could not be rented in a lot of places in the world. So organising what is going to be sourced locally and what you're going to have to take with you is a big part with any fly date. If it gets to the point where it's just unfeasible to rent locally, or the production has reached such a scale when the vast majority of equipment has to be taken with the band, and I'm thinking like a band like Watershed, for instance, then you would have to employ specialised event freighting companies, such as the one shown on the screen, who will take care of getting your equipment from point A to B as cheaply and quickly as possible. And finally, touring creates lots of documentation. The result of this advancing process is hopefully a tour book, which is a printed itinerary that is passed out to the band and crew. And the screen shows a tour book page for Farikisha. Each tour book page will be one date on the tour and gives all the information that anybody needs, load in, load out, etc. As part of that advancing process, potential problems may be highlighted. For instance, when we advanced this show, we actually found out that we're playing almost the next day. Is this then an extra day's wages for session musicians and crew? So that's the live music business, and this is what you've covered: the management side of it, how the deals are done, the major players and who does what. And then you've looked very briefly at the production side of it, when the dates have been set, how the tour is actually then put together. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this series of videos. Thank you so much for watching, and you can find out more at livemusicbusiness.com.